Hello, everybody. Welcome to our call today. We have a guest from Denmark and Elin Pausewang. And so she's been invited. She has a great presentation to share with us. And let me tell you a little bit about her. Elin is a woman of many talents in both her personal and professional life. She's a global citizen. She was born in Ethiopia to a German father and Norwegian mom. She grew up in Norway, spent some additional time in Africa, in Zambia, lived in France, lived in Norway, back to Norway, and now she's living in Denmark. She's married and has 2 children. Professionally, she's currently an integrative psychotherapist. She focuses on the well-being of our whole being, body, mind, and spirit. And her work is informed by all of her life experiences. Professionally, she has a background as a social anthropologist, a creativity coach, a professor, and a consultant to universities and medical institutions. Personally, like all of us, she has journeyed through some deep valleys, in particular a cancer diagnosis, and she's also ascended to high peaks. And today, we get to experience a high peak that is a culmination of her life experience and what she's learned through courageously facing the highs and lows, what she's learned about resilience, creativity, nature, and the body. And this presentation she's going to share with us was inspired during the early days of coronavirus in Denmark. The whole society, like so many of our societies around the world, was shut down, and she felt the need to contribute. It was a situation, she says, which in odd ways seemed very familiar to the situation she as an individual and many with her had been in during periods of sickness and stress, where she could not contribute and we could not contribute when we go through those times to society in the way that we were used to. And it made her reflect on some things that she had learned and on the importance of re-owning our own health. So Elin, welcome. Welcome to our gathering today. We're so excited to have you here. We're excited to learn from you and then to have a conversation with you about resilience and how we can all take more charge, feel that sense of empowerment during unpredictable times.
Yeah. Wow, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. That was really amazing. Thank you. I didn't know all that about myself in that way. Beautiful. So I will share my story with you, and I have made a PowerPoint presentation with my own pictures. And I start with one that was very important for me during this period of a long concussion, post-traumatic brain injury, a very mild one, but still it took a long time. And this picture became one that I kept looking at. And that was so important for me during that period. I'll just get it right. So this is a picture that I drew or painted, but quite by chance. It was just supposed to be a picture of a house in the right way and with just a horizon line like I used to. But then there were these strange lines, you know, the paint started dripping down. So I turned the picture upside down to look what it was, to see it's interesting. You know, it could be interesting to see it upside down. And it was quite interesting. And this little dot there became a little person, and a woman or a girl standing just stretched out to the sky. And I called it resisting the urge to move forward. And as I then was lying on my sofa for 3 years with a concussion, not being able to read, not being able to watch the television, not being able to talk to my kids more than 10 minutes at a time, just able to walk very slow walks in nature and just meditating, lying down and feeling my breath. That was simply what I could do. This picture really became a big comfort for me. And I kept looking at it, and I felt my life had turned upside down. And then as I got to see the end of the tunnel, and I was preparing to get back into work, and I was preparing to think, okay, so I am going to start my business doing what I really dream of, but I'll just take a little detour into, academics again, because I had given up my academic career in order to go into more working with people and more working with creativity deeply. And so I'll just make a little detour before I really go to my own project, my own calling. And then the week after I had made plans for coming back to work with my leader, then I found breast cancer. I found a lump in my chest and found out that it was a breast cancer. And so it took another 1.5 years. And it wasn't very dramatic because it was never totally life-threatening. But I, of course, went through all the thoughts about life and death and what do I do now? And it became very important for me that when I'm finished with this, and I was sure I was going to end up being healthy again, and I kept on focusing on that, I will do what I came here to do. I will not postpone it anymore. And I did surgery and I did radiation, but as they did the surgery, they found out that the lump was just small enough so I didn't have to do chemotherapy. And I was already thinking that I would never do that. I would never give it to my body if I could avoid it. And luckily, I was not even having to make that choice. So this picture and its title, Resisting the Urge to Move Forward, became so meaningful because it's really resisting the urge to go quickly and very quickly in our lives and all this pressure and all the things we have to do. And when Corona crisis came up in Denmark, I found that this situation of being on standby from society and on standby for my own life and seeing things upside down, and the only place I could turn to was the heavens or the earth. So I thought as this happened, I thought, well, this is a situation I know quite well. Being on my own, totally isolated. The first time I had concussion some years before that, I felt so isolated and had to go through this really deep, dark night of the soul to find that strength inside of me. And I think this is what many people have done, like me, during periods of crisis or of sickness, where we have been not able to handle our jobs, not able to handle our social life, not able to do what we used to be, and just having that fear of not coming back to our old life and of letting go of that feeling of being needed out there. That's the biggest fear almost. And then suddenly, here we are in March 2020, and it's not just one person. It's not just the individual being faced with this situation. It's the whole world. It's a collective crisis being played out and a collective standby. And I found that so interesting. What does that do with us? And so that's where I went into this theme of creative resilience, because I think that, like me, for many other people, this really feeling the depth of your soul and really being in a crisis gives us a sort of resilience that we can use in all other areas of the world, of our lives. And when I talk about it as creative, I talk about it as both of the part that we are active in it. We are doing it actively. We are not just reacting to what the world is doing to us. And we are creating our own lives. We are creating our own health. We are creating our own resilience. And resilience doesn't just mean, holding away all the fear, all the horrible viruses, but it also means being able to get through the crisis and come back on the other side, rising stronger. And in that sense, I find it interesting to talk about the health, because this is a health crisis that we're in right now. But health has, the way we look at it traditionally, And if we only look at the medical system as it used to be traditionally, then our bodies are mechanical, seen as mechanical things. They are separate from other entities, and they are matter. And we treat it with other matter. So we treat it with medicine, but we don't see it as a whole. But health, the word health, actually comes from an old Nordic word, hel, which means whole. And wholeness, if we think about our health, coming back to health and coming back to vitality and coming back to our lives, it actually has to do with coming back to what we already are, to our essence of wholeness that we have forgotten. And I like to think about that we now are in a crisis about health, and we have to go into a new paradigm of health, where we not only look at it in the Newtonian way, but we look at it from new sciences, which are actually confirming the mystics' way of looking at our bodies and our health and how everything is connected. Because the new sciences are confirming what these ancient and mystic knowledge cultures always have known. Quantum physics is confirming that everything is energy. And it can collapse into matter, but it is energy and matter, and it can be both at the same time. Everything is interconnected in a field of energy. And we are all fields of energy that influence each other's. And that we influence reality through our consciousness, that the way we think actually influences what happens around us. Epigenetics also has shown that we are not victims to our genes, and that our genes are influenced by their environment, which is again influenced by the brain, which is something we can influence by our feelings and our thoughts. So we are not victims to our genes. And this shouldn't any longer be alternative or mystic, which it is in many cultures, and at least in Norway, where I come from, this is very alternative to think. And it ought actually to be a part of the curriculum in medical schools and to be included, especially in the discourse on corona. But it isn't. I heard on the Danish television, they were asking a doctor, and this is not to say anything wrong about doctors, but he was asked, well, what if we, feel this little throat thing and we feel that we're getting a fever? Is there anything we can do? And he said, no, you can just lie down and wait. I was just, what did he say? Is that true? You can just, that was there's nothing you can do, But I don't agree. There's a lot we can do. We can take care of ourselves in a very different way. And of course, that's not the general way of thinking of all medical doctors. But it is one way of saying it. As long as we don't have a medicine, we can just sit and wait for that vaccine to come. And creative resilience has to do with just this of reacting, not reacting, but of being creative in our meeting with this situation that we're in. And the premises are that we are already whole. We've just forgotten it. And our body cells know exactly what they need to do to recreate a balance if we just let them. But they might need our help, because through our lifetime, we have done a lot to stress it, and we have maybe taken medicine that might distort that balance. And it might need help from our thoughts or our consciousness. But on a general plan, you probably know much more about this than I do, but on a cell plane, we have two choices. The cell has two choices of action. Either it can go into growth or it can go into protection. And so we have an influence on that cell if it goes into choice or protection, because everything is energy. And these energy fields, the cell is an energy field and is entangled with other energy fields. And are also influenced by the way we think. Our bodies perceive energy energy as vibrations. So we feel it as a low or a high vibe. And that is also what the cells pick up and react with growth or with protection, put very simply. So you have influence on the way your cells choose to do. And we can do it through our thoughts, through our lifestyle, through our feelings, through our consciousness. And when we feel something in our body, it's a call. It's a language to us to say, hey, look, I'm here. I want you to listen. I'm here. There's something I need. But very often we don't stop and listen. We don't take that call. We just go on in our lives because we are so busy, and there are so many things that are more important than that body calling out, until it really screams out. And then it might be too late. But often it's not. We can change it. And the placebo and the nocebo effect, you probably know this, is the placebo effect is that we, if we think that a medicine is going to help us, to make us healthy, well again, then it probably will, it influences the way we react to that medicine. And if we also just get a fake medical substance, then that could also make us well. And it could even make us even more well than the medicine itself, because the belief itself has such an influence on the way we react on it. But that's great. And we could use that even more than we do. We could use it really actively. The problem is also that we have the nocebo effect. So if I believe that something is really terrible for me, then of course that's going to influence the way I react on it. And there are stories about people having been told that they have a very deadly illness. They have a cancer that's going to kill them within 6 months. And true enough, they died within 6 months. And after death, they found out he didn't have cancer after all. He just believed so strongly in his whole surroundings believed so strongly in it that it caused his body to die. And that is incredible. We can't believe it, but we need to take it seriously, and we need to use it to our advantage. So I just felt it was really interesting to see what happens to us when we hear all of this about Corona and the death tolls in the United States, the death tolls in Italy. Oh, there are so and so many dead now, and what are we doing? And all this fear coming up in us. What happens when we know about the nocebo effect? And looking at the symptoms, those are our signs. Those are the ways we can talk to our bodies. Those are the ways we can go in and react. And a symptom is like a fire alarm sounding. And we could choose to do it like, either we can stop the fire alarm, which is what modern medicine often does. It finds the symptom and it stops the symptom. But that hasn't taken care of the fire itself. So maybe we need to actually go to the source and find the fire and extinguish that one, because that's where we are going to really do something about the problem. So the holistic approach goes to the cause of the symptom. And it works on emotional, mental, spiritual factors. And it is interesting to know that in quantum theory, we see that the micro parts, like the cells and the quantums, all the small particles, mirror things on a macro level. So what happens inside our bodies is mirrored in our individual lives, and what is mirrored on those levels is mirrored in the world. So what about the world symptoms? What does that tell us about our lives and about the world and the way we are treating the world? And I'm glad to hear that there are lots of people just taking that discussion now. I won't go into it here, but it's interesting. And in order to turn to our bodies and work with them when we have got an illness, I find this research from Kelly Turner, which is is quoted in the book Heal by Goris. where she has done research and interviewed over 1,500 patients who had a spontaneous recovery after having a deadly diagnosis. And she found that there were lots of factors that they did to recover, but there were 9 factors that were all that they all had in common. And looking at that list, it's really interesting because just 2 of those things, just radically changing your diet and using herbs and supplements, only those 2 are physical. They are what you take into your body. All of the rest are psychological, emotional, about your thoughts, about your lifestyle, about your spiritual connection. So it has to do with taking control of your own health, following your intuition, releasing suppressed emotions and increasing positive emotions, embracing social support, deepening your spiritual connection, and having a strong reason for living. And this is what we can all, nod to and say, this is important in my lives. And we could all go in and think, okay, where am I really okay with this? What has a good place in my life? And where are there holes? What am I not taking care of here in this list? And maybe that's where one can start. And so in order to I think this is really great in working with people who have sicknesses. And we need to look this way, and we need to take the control ourselves. And so I have a little video here of going from the old story into the new story, out of the situation that we have right now. We have a now with a corona crisis, where there is so much fear going on, because the situation itself is very uncertain and we don't know what's going to happen. Many people resist the situation in itself. We resist, there are lots of things we can find that we resist in this situation. We would like it to be like it was before. It creates a lot of stress. And we are also in a situation where many of us still are confined in our own homes, and we don't have the same liberty that we used to have, the same freedom. And all of this causes contraction in our bodies. All of this causes a way of, for those cells in our bodies, this does not cause empowerment and growth. This causes contraction. And this is the new story that I would like to look at, because we have a choice. Maybe we could, as a whole world, go into a new story. So this new story could look like this. We have a now, which is still the corona crisis. But instead of resisting it, we accept the now. And I'm not saying that is easy, but it's a process. So we accept the now instead of resisting it. We can go into creativity. We can go and create things to respond to it, which is what we see all the places, all these concerts happening everywhere, online, everything. We can do meditation and get closer to our intuition on our sofas at home. We can release old feelings and emotions, and that is what is happening as well around the globe. People are really getting close to their old their negative emotions, and we can work on releasing them. We can go into social support, help others, and receive social support from others. We can also see that happening around. And we can go deeper into spiritual connections. And we can also focus on the positive emotions and focus on increasing those things that are great about the situation, or the things that are really good. And we see that these things are happening in the situation. This causes an expansion. This causes a positive spiral where we have love and we have joy and forgiveness as as very important feelings that can create this resistance, and that can give us an extra boost of energy in these times that we need. And so we could see them together, and we could see that this, on the left side, the old story, it creates contractions in the cells. They go into protection, while the other one, there is expansion and the cells are in growth. In the first one, we create a cultural field of fear, where I am a victim to circumstances and I can do nothing about it. I can just wait for that vaccine and wait for the laws to change. Or we could go into a creation and boost our own resilience and create a cultural field or a spiritual field of love, where I am an active, powerful co-creator with the universal life force energy. And we can see how this is totally different. And I hope, I'm very optimistic that is where the Earth is going, and that we are many people who have experienced this before and who know that, okay, this is a situation that is similar. I can go there, I know it, and we can also help others get there. So what can I do to boost my resilience? And that's a question for each one of us. And I will just quickly go through some of these, but I thought if we had time, we could go into one of these exercises. So reclaiming the power of your own health. So think about what is your old story of health and of balance, and what could be a deeper truth for you in your life. And then to really listen to your symptoms, to follow them to the root cause instead of repressing them. And to visualize your cells transforming from symptom to total health, 5 minutes daily. That's all it takes. And we'll try to do that together. You can also acknowledge and meet your emotions with empathy, and to think about what helps you to release them, and go into those activities that you know releases them. For some, it could be, running a very active run, or screaming or shouting, or dancing or singing. And forgiveness is a really important thing. Forgiving yourself, forgiving others for those things that they have done, for those things you are not able to do, for those things that you're not capable of anymore. And increase positive feelings. Know where your focus is. Have your focus on gratitude, love, and joy, and don't keep the focus on those things that don't work. So what makes you happy? What gives you joy and laughter? And keep a journal of joy and gratitude, focusing on the abundance in your life. And I'm not just saying this because it's great to do, makes you feel good, but it also affects your cells and your body and your health. And the energy and visualizations you can use. We use the nature and the connectedness to the earth to get grounded, so that we don't just fly up into all this joy and gratefulness and all that, but we stay connected to the earth. And the nature is fantastic to visualize, to be in, and to receive all this inspiration and calmness and peace and silence from. So visualize that you fill all your cells with light and energy from the nature. And then make a protective shell of energy around your body to protect yourself from negative energy. That's also something you can do to feel this resilience energetically, so that only positive energies can get into your field. So even there you have some sense of control. And we don't have to stay with resilience, we can rise stronger. So going through a crisis, if it's individual or if it's collective, we can actually make this into a possibility to change into something even better. And the world really needs it. It's sick. The world has a symptom. So we can only work with ourselves as individuals, but we can do it. We can make a difference out in the world. So, what is your strong reason for living? And what is your destiny contribution in the midst of this crisis in the world? And how can you, by acknowledging your vulnerability and feelings, rise through the crisis even stronger than before? And these are deep questions, and they're not done just like that. It's a lifetime of experiencing and of finding new steps, and take a little small step at a time. And then I would love to do a little joint meditation or mindfulness exercise, where I finish again with this picture and where I try to include the symptom in it. So if you want to join me on that, then you can just sit down and feel that you sit comfortably. And if you want to, you can close your eyes or just keep them open. And feel that the gravity is pulling you down towards the earth. And feel that you're heavy, and that you can feel the places where your body meets the chair you're sitting on, your feet meet the earth, the floor. And feel now that you take a little scan of your body. You do a little scan through your whole body and feel the places in your body that needs your attention. Is there one place that is calling out for you? And if there is, go there and just gently feel that place. Be in it. Let your consciousness take place and be present with it. And try to feel the texture. Is it hard? Which consistency does it have? Is it fluid or hard, sharp, foggy? Which color does it have, if it has any? You can see it. And not everybody can see this, not everybody can feel it, but we all have our different way of sensing this. Just let it be what it is. And try to see if you could, from your caring, most loving side, the one that you use when you meet your own children or your clients or someone you're working with that are having a bad time, the most empathic self. Connect to that in your heart. And go to that place in your body and hold it. Give it some warm attention. And ask it, what do you feel? What are you feeling? And listen for the response. You don't need to do anything. You just mirror what that part of you is saying. I can see that you're feeling sad or left out or not seen or ignored. And you can ask again if you like. Ask again, maybe you get a level deeper. What are you feeling? And listen and mirror it. And then ask, what do you need? And again, listen for the response. And you don't have to do anything. You just mirror. I can see that you feel, and I can see that you need. Maybe it needs attention, love, or that you do something, but you're not going to do anything. You're just going to witness it. Feel how you lift this part very gently up into your heart. As if you could somehow take the energy out of your body and lift it up into your heart, into that loving care in your heart. And as you do that, pull in energy from the earth and let it fill your whole body and your heart. So go to your feet and let the energy of the earth that you're sitting on come up through your feet and fill your whole body with energy. And also feel how you can open up to the sky above and to pull in light and energy from above. Let it fill your whole body. All the cells, all the way out to the fingertips, into your toes, into your intestines, your heart, your liver, your brain, everywhere. The most remote parts. And these energies meet in your cells. You feel that you can fill every single cell in your body with this energy. This energy of natural life force energy. Universal life force energy that you're filling in from above. And the earth's energy of fire that you're filling in from below. And feel how they meet inside of your heart. How you are the bridge between the earth and the universal life force energy. It can be like a tree, you're standing there between heaven and earth. Feel how, like a tree, you have roots deep down into the earth, and you have branches going high into the sky. And you're like a trunk that can sway with the winds. You can feel how you're flexible. You can actually flex with the wind. It's kind of stormy right now, but you can move. You can move flexibly with that wind, but you have so deep roots that you're standing there. Whatever comes, you keep standing. And feel that you still breathe in energy from above and below. And then on your out breath, start breathing, start spreading this energy to your surroundings, because you're not a closed entity. You're part of the energy field around you. So feel that your awareness, your consciousness, and your energy can expand. And let it first expand on your right side, on your more masculine, active side, so that your energy expands on your right side. And then let it expand on your left side, your more feminine side. Where you can be creative, empathic, flexible. You have both those sides in you, and they can balance. I feel that you expand down into the earth and up into the heavens. And now feel also that you expand to your back, behind you, opening up to all the wisdom that you have with you from the ancestors, your ancestors, your genes, from all the experience that you have, your totally unique life experience, and all the teachers you've had, all the meetings, all the people that have had influence in your lives. That is with you right now. You can take it in and expand and include that in your field. And then in front of you too, feel that future, what you're stepping into now, and expand into that, in the future of the world. And feel how you can expand your whole field of awareness to include the whole world and to include the whole field of oneness, the quantum field that we're all a part of and that all is connected. And feel that from your energy, you can actually send a beam of energy out to all atoms in the universe. And that you don't have to be scared of losing energy because you're still pulling in energy from above and below. And it's an infinite source of energy. Now you can pull your energy a bit back and then feel that you have an energy field around you that protects you and that gives you resilience in times where you need it and where you can be strong and safe and loved as who you are. And if this makes sense, then use these sentences inside of yourself, say them inside. I surrender to the intelligent, natural life force in me. I am a small but valuable and interconnected part of the whole Earth's process of refinding its natural, intelligent balance and wholeness. I'm grateful for my infinite potential and creative power. And when you just feel those sentences, how they feel in you, and maybe they're not right for you, and you find your own new story about your own health. And if they do make sense, then you can let them grow inside of you. And then just slowly come back to where you're sitting in your room, and to the way you pull down with weight towards the earth, the sounds in your room. And when you feel ready, you can come back. So that was my presentation.
Wow. Elin, I have to say, if I may say, thank you so much for being a brave voice of this way of thinking, this way of being, this philosophy. You mentioned that in Denmark, the holistic approach to health and healing might not be as accepted as in other countries. And I will say, being a physician in the US, we also experienced, I think less so now, but in the past, just kind of a resistance to a more open modality of healing. And I myself stepped away from traditional medicine almost 2 years ago because of my personal philosophy, which is very congruent with yours. So I'm not going to repeat. Basically, your presentation is mine as well. And so I really thank you for being a brave voice, because we really need more people in the world today who really understand that health and healing does come from looking at the whole being and the whole human. And truly, the more people we have who not only understand it, but are brave enough to speak it and to share it, then it just becomes this growing movement. And I thank you for sharing your presentation and providing it in such a beautiful format that was gentle, and at the same time it provided beautiful information that everybody can home and to use. Um, and that meditation at the end, oh my gosh, I don't know where I went. It feels good.
Wow.
So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I was also a bit, conscious of you being a physician. So so it's really nice to hear you say that, because I think it's a whole new way of thinking that we need to include in the traditional physicians training as well. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Elin, I would like to say thank you as well. So the others are aware, but I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis like 5 going on 6 years ago, and spent over a year unable to walk or see or write or feed myself or all of the things that I previously had engaged in. And this journey that your presentation, there were so many times that my eyes, I got the little itchy feeling. I'm like trying to smile and not cry, because I'm so grateful for your message and your ability to put this out into the world, because it's the message that everyone needs to hear. And if more people, and even though I understand that we each need to experience it on our own, and we each need to internalize it, because we're each those individual cells, the human body or the body of mankind, it's people like you, it's people like Taki putting those energies out into the world so that more people can embrace this philosophy. It's how we're going to heal. Yeah. So I really want to thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, that's beautiful to hear that that it also touches your experience with it. And and I must say I think we can really heal the world with this if we are many enough, and that everybody doesn't have to go through that, maybe if we preempt it instead of working after it's done, and we can listen to those symptoms a little earlier.
Yeah, many of times I've said, I will be the martyr. I'll be the one that experiences the pain. That's fine. That's just physical. And I'll do it so that others, and I firmly believe that, my chronic illness is to help others learn. And so when I heard your presentation, I was like, divine confirmations abounding.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wow. Oh, and I just wanted to say, Taki, that in Denmark, just to correct that, in Denmark, they're quite open to these thoughts. But I think in Norway, they're more skeptical to it, where I come from originally. So I think Denmark is opening up a lot. But even here, we have a very big cliff between.
It is, and if I may share a story, because I think it's important that people who will be listening to this later. I had a patient who suffered from, a very dear patient of mine, suffered from migraines for about 30 years, and she was on different medications. So she has been in the traditional healthcare system, and by the time she came to me, she had tried all these different medications, has been to several specialists. And even though I'm traditionally trained, because of my love and my understanding of the healing modalities and myself moving in that direction, we talked, and as I'm talking to her, in her story comes out that she was verbally abused, and when she was pregnant, she kept doing this. And she's like, my husband threw me against the wall, and he would grab my throat. And it just came to me. I said to her, I believe that your migraines are actually partially perhaps due to your throat chakra being closed. Do you believe in energy healing? And she said, I don't know what that is. And so I said, well, it's not my field. However, I recognize that there is a healing modality out there, and I believe in the energy fields. And I said, I want you to find an energy healer in your area. She's from out of town, and let her know your doctor, you suffer from migraines, and your doctor identified that might be related to needing your throat chakra opened. So sure enough, she calls me, maybe a month later, and she said, first of all, you'll never believe this, but I found an energy healer. Second of all, she couldn't believe that my internal medicine doctor referred me to you.
Wow.
And third of all, she worked on me. We opened my throat chakra, and I don't have migraines anymore.
Wow. Yeah.
And I feel like it's so important for me to share this story, because this is that bridge. We need to have a conversation between the traditional side of things and the more open side. I don't even like to use the word traditional medicine. I find another term for that. I guess the physical medicine is the whole approach. And I feel that the more people understand that these stories of healing are out there, at the same time that it can be bridged by people who are trained in all fields, so that we really can work together. We really work together, and there's a place for everything. There's a place for physical medicine, and there's a place for spiritual medicine, and the place where we can bring the two together, that's where 2 + 2 = 5.
Exactly. Yes. It's so beautiful to hear you say this. I so agree. Yes. And it's in bridging all these fields. We've been thinking, this is a field, this is a field, this is a field. And so we look at it from this. You have a physiotherapist, you have a doctor, you have maybe an acupuncturist if you're lucky, but you have all these different fields. And then you look at the ear and you look at, that's not how it works,
Right.
Yeah.
Elin, I think your whole presentation was so absolutely beautiful. The way that you use your creativity, speaking about the creativity of what you do, but the way that you use your gifts and pulled that together, I was just sitting here thinking that everybody, who can I share this with? There's so many people, that are, I think, open enough right now, if they weren't before, to listen and to really understand the way that you described and you shared each picture. Everything just went together so nicely. Now I see what Kim was talking about. Your voice, like the way that you created this presentation, and was like we could see who you are, and it was amazing. There was the way during the meditation too, how you spoke about energy and how we're all connected, and the energy that we hold, and where do we feel it in our bodies. And I wrote a ton of notes, but energy and not having enough is something that like I always struggled with in the past, and I still kind of, that's what came to me, was like the fear of not having enough energy to put out into the world, if that makes sense.
Mm.
And what came to me was, but when we're doing those things that we love, that we're passionate about, and that we're joyful to do, we always have enough energy.
Yeah.
And it's the creativity that I think is coming out in all of this from the COVID-19 virus. It's the how you made the second circle, the what was that called? Oh, the new story. The new story was all about, you know, we're given this time right now to figure out how to find our creativity again, because so many people don't even know that they are creative beings, that we're all artists. And I think I've mentioned before, like, even the way that we get dressed is, we're artists. Like, everything we do is something creative. And just the way that you brought out the creativity, it's not just art. People think that, oh, you're only an artist, or you're only creative if you can draw, or if you can sing, or if you can write music, and just, I loved how you brought out just the creativity in the stillness that we're that we're in right now, from finding concerts and things, you know, artists, all the artists that are putting things out there, like dancers. And I mean, I have never seen so much ballet. Oh, and I love it. It's so inspiring. And listening to orchestras on Zoom where you can see all the musicians. Have you guys seen that? I mean, it's just like, we never had time to sit there and listen to these things. So just those simple things, I think if people can listen to this, even just if they hear that, it's like, oh yeah, there's so many things available to us right now that can spark the creativity and the healing. So just, I mean, that's, your presentation was just amazing. So just, you know, connecting to your spirit and healing from there. For me, it was amazing. So thank you. I can't wait to share your message with others.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, it gives me so much joy that it makes sense for you, and that it, you know, wow, it's such a joy. And I guess that's also when we find these treasures ourselves, it gives us such joy to give them on to others. And that's where we're all heading. That when we do this transition ourselves, we want to give it away to others. And so the world can change through that as well. And yeah, I do believe everybody has creativity and is an artist deep inside. And we do it in different ways, by being a great waiter in the bar, or by dressing, as you say. And I had I went down with stress once, a long time ago, as I was working as a lecturer, as an assistant professor, I must say, at a university. And I went down with stress because I was just working from up here, and I was really missing this creative part in my life. And as I went down with stress, I got totally sick entering the university and the college. I couldn't go in there before, you know, everything started going bananas again in my body. But taking part in experimental theater, a workshop, wow, I was alive again. I didn't feel any of that sickness or stress or whatever. And that's when I realized I had to go to Denmark to just take half a year of theater school. And I stayed in Denmark. I never thought I would stay here, but, you know, because of that experience, that it makes me well when I have this creativity in my life. And I think we all have to get back to it, because it's something we forget in schools and in society. Mm-hmm. So that is really one of my core messages. We need to get back to our creativity.
Yeah, sure. I love that so much. I think that's where we can reconnect with ourselves, when we slow down and we either, you know, journal or color or dance or whatever. This time we're given is giving us that ability to find our creativity again. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, totally.
I was so moved, I have to say, the meditation following the old story and the new story. I had this just woke up with this kind of headache right back here. So I explored that in the meditation, and I've been sharing in this group. I just realized, come to a new awareness of something I need to release. And that's a tendency to kind of take on the weight of the world. I feel deeply and I grieve deeply. And the old narrative of the world is just, I'll take it on, racism, sexism, and, feel like almost overly responsible in solving it. And the visualization that came to me in this meditation was that, I know this is a pattern I want to release, because that's the the restrictive, constricting, and it's not good for my health. I know that. And I'm only one being, so I don't need to take on the whole weight. But it's interesting that one of my health challenges is osteoporosis and bone health, taking on too much, that more than I can handle, the structural compromise in that. So, releasing that, and then the new story, the new narrative is really, it's meditation practices like this that really serve me and help me hear my intuition and the call of my spirit as to how I, just me, Kim, can arise and bring my creative gifts to the world. And, this group, the advancement of women, this coming together, was something that really was born out of meditation and intuition and kind of finding my way into a new creative possibility. And it's been so exciting. And I had this vision of a story in my faith tradition of an early founder. His name was Abdul Baha, and he was asked by people, because he had all these teachings, world peace, unity, and someone asked him, why are you not solving this problem, and focused on he was building a well. And why are you not focused? Why aren't you helping us? We need to fix this. And he said, well, I want to put my energy into something entirely new, because that's old and it's going to collapse. So why spend my time putting Band-Aids on what will never work? And that story came back to me, that I can be so pulled towards the wounds of the day, towards the pain. And that in a way, it's sort of like having a laser focus or deep roots and branches, but taking that time to just listen to our souls and where we're called to go. And there's going to be all kinds of noise around us, and we may have people come along that are crying and grieving, and he had the capacity to listen and let go, to be a comfort in the moment, but not to carry that pain on his continued journey. So the compassion was there. So that a lot came to me in that short meditation about kind of the new narrative that I'm working on constructing. And I just want to say that this, I've seen the presentation before, and just in a short period of time, because COVID is intense, it is a time where we get to go inward. And it can be a time of, what do we need to let go of, so that we can create our lives in a healthier way from here, and be a contribution in all our unique ways to help heal our world. So it's, I'm so glad we have this recorded, because I have a feeling I could listen in a month from now and have a totally different experience.
Oh, thank you, Kim. And so fascinating, the things our body can tell us, and how the symptoms we have are, like you said too, Saki, that they're all related to our history and what we're struggling with. I had a concussion for 4 years. Of course, it has to do with being too much focused on my mind. So it had to go down totally so that I could focus on something else. Yeah. But of course, there's not there's not a one-to-one that it's the same for everyone. It's so individual, and we all have our own history, and we need to find that wisdom in ourselves, which is what you did. It's beautiful.
Elin, I wanted to ask, what other spaces have you found to be able to share this message?
I haven't. I have shared it with some groups in Feminine Power, and in my Danish, in my business as my clinic, yeah, as a speech. But otherwise, I haven't shared it yet. It's coming, emerging. Yes. So this is a gentle help to get it spread. Yes.
Absolutely beautiful, and we're so grateful. I just knew I knew deep in my soul that this is truly a gift, and I'm so glad that we could experience your gifts, and that we've got a recording of this to share with our community, which is growing. And I have a feeling that you will be guided each step of the way to something greater and bigger, and that this will touch many hearts. It's neat when we have something recorded, because we really don't know. It's like a gift to the universe, and we don't know whose life it will always touch. But that's what's so beautiful about creativity, is that it's going to last long after us. It's out there, it's in the universe. And I know I'll be sharing on our Facebook page. You're going to be offering some things that you're working on, and have your website's mostly in Danish, but you have an English landing page for those of us who are here in America. And you'll have some offerings that I know will serve so many people. And we're just so grateful to have you here today. So thank you for giving of your time. And we look forward to seeing where this beautiful gift goes.
Oh, it's been such a wonderful meeting to meet all of you. I really feel very touched by your response, and just by your being there. It really helped me so much in the presentation. So thank you so much.